Bangladesh. If we were to Google the country of Bangladesh, it's described to be a rich, lush, and fertile land, home to over 160 million people, and has a very attractive capital, Dhaka. It looks like a nice place to take a vacation, full of life and color. But if we were to look deeper, you can see that it's riddled with despair from its highly polluted areas and overworked, unsanitary, unsafe conditions. What's the story behind this? How does it happen? Who does it affect? And what are they doing? Why does it continue to go on? In this video, we are going to be telling a story about a way in which Hazaribagh came to be polluted, the effects of pollutants on the area, and what actions, if any, are taking place to resolve this issue. Let's start and focus on only one location, Hazaribagh. This is an area within Dhaka that's reported to be one of the worst polluted areas in the world. What separates Hazaribagh from the other cities is that it is mainly polluted by a substance called hexavalent chromium, a well-known carcinogen that comes from, nope, not factories, not dump sites, bingo, tanneries. Since all cities across the globe are polluted in different ways, we can't say for sure that Hazaribagh is the worst one, but we can safely say that it is one of the worst locations on the planet for anyone's health, physical, mental, emotional, etc. This is backed up by the article titled Bangladeshi Leather Industry, an Overview of Recent Sustainable Developments, which says that there are reportedly around 220 tanneries in Bangladesh, but in fact only 113 are in effective operation. Out of those 113, 20 are fairly large, 45 are medium-sized, and 48 considered small. That gives you a quick insight on how many you could find in the area and how important they seem to be. From that article, here is a chart I created that shows the amount of solid waste in tons per year produced by the leather industry alone. Let's now look a little bit into the background of these tanneries before diving into the pollution aspect. The Human Rights Watch created an extensive and beautiful report on tanneries in Bangladesh and the effects of them. It stated that Bangladesh has a great majority of its tanneries in Hazaribagh, consisting of around 8,000 to 12,000 workers in each tannery, and surges up to 15,000 for a few months when the festival of Eid occurs. Different stages of the tanning process vary between each tannery, some having to go through all the steps of tanning, while others perform only half and move the leather on to another industry. But about 80% of the leather produced is exported out of the country. Just off of leather goods alone, Bangladesh has made over $600 million in export. That is a lot of money. The following is a display of the amount of money certain countries have paid for leather export from July 2011 to 2012. Leather was also bought by around 60 other countries in the world. And with all that leather being made, it comes with dire consequences to the environment. The Human Rights Watch also stated that there were extreme amount traces of pollutants within the wastewater, especially since the wastewater is left untreated. There are only 4 major substances listed in this chart, but look at those numbers. Every single one of them has been found in wastewater to be at least 100 times over the limit that it should be. That is insane. One of the major pollutants is, as stated before, hexavalent chromium, a toxic substance that is bound to cause cancer and leads to high death rates in humans. There are multiple health defects that occurs from this, such as dermatitis, ulcers, and if contact is persistent and continual, cancer. Extremely tragic for the workers. On top of chromium and other substances listed previously, there has been evidence of sodium, ammonium, sulfur, lead, copper, chlorine, and multiple other elements found in the groundwater of Hazaribagh. The report also stated that since these all exist, the overall pH of wastewater, which should range from 6 to 9, falls from 4 to 5 pH, making the water more acidic than it should be. This line graph, taken from mdpi.com, comes from research that compared samples of different rivers around Dhaka. Buriganga, as the Human Rights Watch also revealed, has shown to have high amounts of discharge/waste within its banks. This is because the discharge coming from tanneries of Hazaribagh most likely flows straight into the river, affecting the wildlife within and around it, creating even more of a stinky mess. If you continue to read the previous slide, you'll get a gruesome account of how the environment smells. rotting eggs, noxious fumes, dust, not just because of the tanneries, but also because of decaying flesh and animals. Sounds great. Not really. Now, what is the government and leather business doing about this? Well, not much of anything really. According to the Human Rights Watch report, workers have seen no inspectors, they have not seen regulators, given no compensation for injury or sick leave, and have continued to work in harsh, unsanitary, unattended conditions. An official of the Department of Environment even said, and I quote, "There is no monitoring and no enforcement in Hazaribagh." It's very sad. So what can we learn from this? Main takeaways are these. 1. Tanneries, while highly profitable, are a bad business in terms of environmental and human health. While there are many major environmental risks, chromium is the biggest culprit and must be regulated, which leads to the next point that 2. There needs to be some serious reform and strategy changes in Bangladesh's work environment. There is little to no motion on fixing the grounds of labor, literally and figuratively speaking, and that needs to change. The workers need to be protected from physical harm and violations of rights, as well as having a thorough sanitation system in place. We need to keep those animals alive as well. Thank you.